So Phil Spencer was on the Kind of Funny podcast, our best friends.
Oh, I love those guys. They're like right above us.
I actually like them.
On the Apple iTunes podcast.
I listened to the whole podcast.
Did you?
It was great.
You gave them a lesson. You're not helping.
I did.
I hope you listened to us to bounce it out.
Nope.
Okay.
They were very professional.
Were they kind of funny?
They had like a round table. It wasn't funny at all.
Well, then that's false advertising. It's supposed to be at least kind of funny.
They did like a round table thing, and they all had really hard questions for Phil Spencer. So Phil Spencer is the head of Xbox.
Oh, is that what this is?
Yeah.
Oh, when he like said, yeah, Xbox sucks?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, I did see that.
And he had a rough week, and they were like, hey man, you had a rough week. And he's like, yeah, I've been having a rough week. He said, I'm not in a good mood.
Redfall sucks.
It never looked good.
No, it never looked good.
So they keep saying that people are disappointed. How could you be disappointed? It never looked good.
But because the studio made Dishonored.
Yeah, it's a big studio.
It's a big studio.
That I understand. If you heard through somewhere that Arcane was making a new game,
yeah,
you're allowed to be disappointed.
Yeah.
If you didn't see anything after that, if all you heard was, oh, Arcane, I want to play this.
I think a lot of people
But if you saw anything,
I think a lot of people were just sucking down that
right
copium of like, it'll be fine when it comes out.
Sucking it down.
It'll be fine when it comes out. It's Arcane. Yeah. Because they're known for making really fun gameplay, really cool stories. And this
wasn't that.
No, it's bad gameplay and bad story. There's no story.
So Phil Spencer's argument was, I don't want to deter a studio from making the game that they want. So we could...
They wanted to make that?
Yeah.
What went wrong?
It seems like they were forced to make a multiplayer game, but they weren't. Or at least that's what they're saying. Phil Spencer was like, we could have said, make a first person, make a single player narrative game like you always do, and you always do a great job. You're not allowed to do any multiplayer games, but they wanted to make a multiplayer game, so go ahead.
Well, you think the skills would be transferable? They didn't ask if they could like build a John Deere tractor. So they said part of it, they knew early on that it wasn't going to run at over 30 frames per second. And Phil Spencer was like, one of our biggest mistakes was that we told people it would, and we knew that it would. Oh, wow.
He straight up said that.
Holy crap.
And he said they farmed it out to other Xbox first party studios who were good at bumping frame rates. And one of them, I think, was Rare.
Oh.
And they couldn't do it.
Oh, wow.
Or they're still working on it. They couldn't do it in time.
Probably eventually. But...
He said another giant mistake was we didn't step in early enough. We let them kind of do whatever they wanted, which is what you'd think would be the best thing to do for these studios. But he was like, we should have jumped in earlier and gave them the resources that we had, meaning we should have told them about our other studios that could help them with certain aspects, like getting the frame rate boosted. So he really admitted to a lot of stuff. It was an insane podcast.
There's a lot to dissect here. As an Xbox fan that I am, I have a lot of thoughts, and I don't want to bog down our Nontendo podcast too much with it. But what is the deal in general right now with frame rates on these new consoles? Because we just had Jedi release, and I'm playing that, albeit on PlayStation. And it's horrible. Not horrible. The game is fantastic, but the frame rates are horrible. I'm playing...
I was listening to that podcast, and Gary Whitta is on it.
What did he write anything in Jedi Survivor? Because the story of that is sick too.
He said modern games are having a hard time reaching frame rates like Jedi Survivor. That game sucks and shouldn't have been released. That's what he said.
It's true. It's true. It absolutely should have been delayed. I heard that EA even offered them more time, and they said no. I heard that.
That's crazy.
I heard that somewhere. I don't know if that's true. But
bad? I haven't played it.
It's bad.
Oh my God.
It's bad, Bob. I've been playing in performance mode.
On PC?
On PlayStation 5. It doesn't hit 1080. So it runs at sub 1080 on performance. And it doesn't.
On a PlayStation 5?
And
That's
it's not
insane.
And it's not 60. It bounces, I can't remember exactly what it was. I think it bounces somewhere between like 40, 50, something like that. But it will dip down to, I swear, 20. It dips down so bad, so chunky. If you're like near a big town or something and you move the camera, it's almost vomit inducing. And you know on Switch where the what's that, Outer Worlds was it? That big when it came to Switch and everything looked really muddy and the faces, like you couldn't really make them out. It has that factor to it when you're playing. It almost looks like a Switch port. But insane. I'm playing on a PlayStation 5.
It also has problems with higher end graphics cards, which is a thing that we're hearing a lot now. Like people who have like 4090s and stuff are having a hard time running games for some reason. Like
because nothing's optimized.
You're buying these things so that you don't have those problems.
I know. It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. But I think that these companies now know they can release things and patch it later. And that's been really hard for the industry.
This is in a really bad state, though. Digital Foundry said
I want to watch that.
The best way to play the game is in quality. Because even though it's locked to 30 frames, it is locked to 30 frames. Yeah. Whereas the performance just goes everywhere and you're not even getting the full resolution.
Yeah.
So, but quality for me in that game is still, it feels like a slideshow. It's tough because at times in performance, you will get those high frame rates. And when you try and switch to quality, when it chunks down to 30, it's tough. What is happening?
It's rough because sometimes modern games that are released for consoles sometimes run worse on PC for some reason. And in case like Jedi Survivor and I guess Redfall, they're running worse on console, running better on PC, but they still have issues on PC.
This has to be this is the most, as someone who's lived through every generation since NES, this has to be the most disappointing console generation.
Yeah.
We just had these two games released. We got Redfall running at sub 30 and the game's not even good. We have Jedi, which is sick, but it's playing at whatever the heck it's playing at.
Yeah.
Xbox, Redfall is like the only game. You have Redfall, and before that, Halo? I think Psychonauts came out digital somewhere in there. That game was actually pretty fun.
They wanted, that was one of the questions that I think went viral. The viral question was, Phil Spencer said at the very end of the podcast, he was like, people keep saying we should just focus on games, make great first-party games, and then people will switch to Xbox. And he says, nobody's doing that. We lost the worst console generation to lose, which is the Xbox One generation, and no one's going to be selling their PlayStations to buy Starfield. So that's just not their focus.
This man has given up.
I think he's wrong about that.
I think he's wrong too.
I think it would be really hard for them to get people to switch.
On one game? Yes.
No. Even if they have so much competition with
great
first party
I'm saying
consoles.
Because he's like, no one's going to switch just for Starfield. One, wrong. Two, for one game, maybe. But if you do Starfield, if you do this game, if you do that game, if you do this game.
That's so much work they got to fight against and years of back catalog for PlayStation and
at
Nintendo.
The start of Xbox's launch, they bought 17,000 studios.
Yeah.
So bring out Where is Fable? Bring out whatever other games you're working on, the new Gears of War, have Starfield, and then people might start looking at that and being like, I might want to switch. Someone brought up to me recently, I don't like PlayStation 5 exclusive games because I don't play third-person action games and I don't like zombies.
All first-person action games. The third-person action games.
The only two, if you look at the whole library of PlayStation 5 games, you have Ratchet & Clank and Spider-Man, which are fun, arcadey smash hits. Everything else is a third-person, over-the-shoulder, probably open world. If it's not open world, it has zombies, and sometimes both. That's their
counts. Spider-Man counts as that.
As a third person. I would consider that a little more fun and arcadey. Okay. But if someone's not into those, and then they start getting 2, 3, 4 games on Xbox they might like, I could see them moving over.
It would take a long time, and they would have to they have to make banger after banger, and they're just not doing that.
You know what a long time is, though?
What?
3, 4 years. You know how long the Xbox has been out for? 3, 4 years.
Here's the problem is that seems too hard for them, and they're focusing on other things, on winning in other ways, like
Game Pass,
cloud gaming and Game Pass
and cloud.
And
who cares?
And they took a huge L last week when the UK shot down the Activision merger on the grounds of cloud gaming. They said you would be too big in cloud gaming. That takes up 2% of the whole industry.
Yeah, I know.
So
I didn't know.
So that's their strategy is winning in other ways. Maybe not so much in the console market, but winning on PC and with Game Pass. And they're not allowed to do it because of the laws that exist.
And think about the long run too. I mean, like, ever heard of Netflix?
Yeah.
That was fun.
Hey, they have a game studio.
That was fun for a while. You know what we have now? Hulu and Peacock and Paramount and a billion other things.
Yeah, but Netflix is the only company that's in the green right now. It's the one. Every other streaming service is.
I don't care. You're ruining my point.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
I know. I love you. But Xbox just solely backing itself behind subscription models isn't going to last forever. That's not going to keep it afloat forever.
No, but understand that
I do.
Microsoft is Xbox.
Yes.
And Microsoft has the whole PC gaming market.
Yeah,
so they're winning there, and Game Pass is part of that.